It's the Sunday service. The super dance team. Disco be a warning. Doobie doobie doo, doobie doo.
Hey, hello, and welcome to the Sunday service with me, Tan. Apologies for keeping you. This is piss taking even by my own general very bad timekeeping standards. As you can see from the fact that I'm no longer looking like I'm in a Jean-Pierre Jeunet film, my lighting has been relatively sorted out as best I could in the 15 minutes I had to set it up before broadcasting this evening. Right, I'm just going to bring up the thing so I can see you guys in the chat, see who we've got in the house tonight. We have got... Who we got then? Got bloody Yuri, haven't we? Got Alistair Kerr. Got Chris C. I'm sure we've got Diz floating around. Yeah, I'm really hoping that this is going to hold its own, because I know that there's been a few problems with streams recently with them just dying. I don't know if it's due to that weird global outage thing that's been going on. But yeah, it's been a bit intense lately with... Yeah, someone just said here that their Wi-Fi is having a bit of an episode. It's a bit windy here tonight. So I feel like it's creating a kind of like suitably spooky atmosphere in the house. Plus, my cats are going mental. So they'll probably end up making an appearance at some point. But yeah, it's been a bit of a week. I hope you like the title. There's no way in hell that I'm ever going to apologise for it. So if you don't, you can just... I love the way that we've got someone that's just joined the chat that's called Beans on Ghosts. I think that's quite possibly one of the best usernames that I have seen in a while. I'm going to try and get that. I'm going to try and get both of these things running simultaneously. Bear with me. Won't bloody let me, will it? Won't let me have OBS and my thing open simultaneously. So, how has it been this week? You'll hear them running around because they are having like... They've not been out today because it's been stormy and a bit windy. And as we all know, my biggest bugbear ever, one of my biggest bugbears, I have many bugbears. It's like Alan's list of... I can't remember who it was that had the list of grievances. Oh, that was Friends, wasn't it? But daylight savings time is one of my biggest... Really worried that my whole desk is going to go because it's flimsy. Stop it! Daylight savings time really pisses me off. As a woman, you feel like you're on a curfew. And the lack of daylight makes me think that I'm going to go even more mad. So, not happy with it. It's antiquated. Oh, that's what I want to do. First of all, before we do anything else, before we deal with the fact that my cats may very well topple the entire stream this evening, I want to say a big thank you and a big shout out to all of the new subscribers that I have on board. Thanks to my roasting of teeny tiny little Tommy Robinson. That roasting brought a lot of new people on board and it helped me to feel slightly less mad. You regulars that have been here, you know, long suffering since the very beginning, trying to make your way through the ruins of the formerly Great Britain, or has it ever been great? Those of you that made it through the ruins of that have been here for ages, listening week in, week out to various tales of dystopia and bollocks. And now we have some new people who can join the shit show that is this country. So I would like to say a massive welcome to, I think it's like 5,000 of you came on board saying, why haven't I seen this channel before? Probably because we're not as popular on the left. We don't have as many people funding us. Just our lovely subscribers fund us. but we don't have shady, there was people available to humanity pouring their money into us to push their talking points for, deregulation and ultimate control. So, yeah, I have a little sort of chat here from Kirsty Hamilton. Thank you, Kirsty. And it says, it's very cold and was snowing. Oh, you've set me up with this. Ken Gorms? Hot water bottle time. Yeah, my hot water bottle's slumped here like a drunk against the thing. I have actually got a second hot water bottle on this evening. So that's my kind of like my other hot water bottle's in reserve this evening. So yeah, it's I'm having to double, like two, when you go to a wedding, I do this when I go to weddings just to survive. You have 2 drinks on the go, at any given time. Well, I currently have 2 hot water bottles on the go, like the nan that I am. Fernando, can you hear the drums, Fernando? 269 SEK. Need Graham in the house to decipher what currency that is, because I don't know what it is. And as someone else is saying, tickle the like button. Give it a little tickle. Give it a little tickle. I'd like to start off the show tonight not just saying thank you to the new subscribers that have come on board since my roasting of little Tommy Stepladder, but also Caerphilly, who made the decision to elect Plaid Cymru. I can't remember his bloody name off the top of my head. It's just gone out of my brain. But they elected the Plaid Cymru candidate in the by-election. And one of the funniest things, if I could show you this without my entire stream toppling, I would show you it. But I've got it here on this here phone. I know you can't see it. You may actually, could I actually show it to the camera? I don't know. Maybe I could. Let me see if I can. This is top tech. Let's see if I could do this. That's not going to come up on the screen, is it? Maybe it is. No, it's not. Oh, for God's sake. What it says is, out the front of the Reform little pop-up shop that they set up in order to try and radicalise the poor people of Wales. Outside the Reform Cymru, temporary awning, someone has spray painted, now you can fuck off home, to the Reform candidates, which I think is a work of genius. So bravo to whoever did that. It's almost as good as the time there's that woman spray painted on the Thatcher statue. I think she wrote bastard. Yeah, older lady wrote bastard on the Thatcher memorial. She would always be my hero. And I don't think she was ever found, because it would have been all over the news if she'd been found. So, Mr. Hammond, way £2 super chat. Why do you go Geordie when saying super chat? I don't know. It felt right once, and now I've not been able to get out of it. It just feels, I think I started doing it once when I was doing one of my many roasts of, Crafty Wank. Otherwise known as Darren Grames. Darren Grames and his mum, who are both Reform councillors now, because idiocy runs in the family. Beans on Ghosts, great username. Them Welsh are clever. They voted very carefully, says Sarah Davis. I wish I had a squeaky tank. That's not a euphemism. To go along the bottom of the screen. I really do. Thank you for the super chat. All I can see is Graham Gruffy Farr as the username. Gruffy Far is a very unusual username or name generally. So we had that. There was also a by-election in my ward, which Labour won. Thankfully, they won that. My stream delay is really far behind tonight, particularly far behind. But yeah, there was a by-election in my ward, and it was held. It was a council by-election, to be clear, and it was held by. Oh dear, my stream is getting overloaded, and I don't know how to calm it down. We could be in trouble, everybody. We could be in a lot of trouble pretty soon. I don't know what, there's no more windows I can close. I don't know. Hang on, bear with me a sec. Technan, doing whatever a Technan does. Okay, I think we're okay. We might just about be out of the woods. Oh my god, I'm going Theresa May. The country that I love. Yeah, I think I'm all right. I think I'm just about holding on. Dear God. What are we going to do? Yeah, so anyway, fuck me. There was a by-election in my area. Labour held on to it, which we like to see. They're great locally, but I'll tell you where local Labour and Labour broadly are shit, and this is social media, right? So not only are they not getting good national coverage because they absolutely refuse to regulate the press and social media because they are beholden to the powers that be, Murdoch. So I've just liked my own stream here. I'm having to look at the stream on my phone, by the way, because I'm so fucking professional. Because I've had to turn off most of my things. So yeah, it was an appalling effort in the council by-elections from Labour. I think they were relying on boots on the ground, but as I have been trying to tell people constantly, that doesn't matter anymore because people are radicalised before they even get to the point of having some dickhead with a toothpaste rosette turn up on their doorstep feeding them bollocks. You need to get to these people before, because it's all happening online. And when I looked broadly at the campaigning that was being done online by the respective parties in the by-elections, it was dominated like Michael Gove in an S&M bar. It was reform everywhere. They get the blue ticks. They get the blue ticks. They get the boosts from Daddy Elon. They pay extortionate amounts of money for ads. And they are all over it. Labour, the other parties, don't know what the fuck they're doing. And they're not taking advantage of the laws that they haven't even put into place. So it is absolutely disastrous. Anyway, I need to just quickly check on the chat before I carry on, because I'm going to talk about Sarah poaching. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am. Yuri, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. After a night in hospital with Charlie on Friday night, he sends his love. Oh, sending well wishes to you, Charlie. I hope you're doing better. Nobody wants to end up in the bloody hospital, especially not nowadays. They're still a little bit like field hospitals, aren't they? Because everything's fucked still. Oh shit. And God, I need to bear in mind that I feel bad about children watching when I'm a cursy knobhead. Can't even point out that I'm cursing without using the word knobhead. So, Sarah poaching. Oh my God. As you would all be aware of by now, Sarah Poachin is like, the only way I can describe her is like an even worse. It's like they dug up Maggie, right? They went to the graveyard, they dug up Margaret Thatcher, they reanimated her and somehow made her more cunty. She is like Margaret Thatcher licking an asylum seeker's piss off a nettle. That's what she looks like. So we've got her following hot on the heels of Jenrick complaining about not seeing any more white faces or any other white faces when he went to a certain deprived area of Birmingham. The guy who lives in a mansion in one of the whitest villages ever, complaining about not seeing white faces. God, can you imagine how shit the food is in that village? It's just variations of pie. It's like pie-filled pie. Just a sea of beige blandness with no seasoning whatsoever. Can you imagine what the local entertainment's like? Like in their local posh pub? Just a bunch of, I don't know, fucking NFU Mutual rapey young farmers in a Killer's cover band singing Mr. Brightside on repeat constantly. Anyway, Sarah Poachin made those comments, right, about noticing, which is, again, the whole point itself is bullshit. And I'm going to go into a bit of detail about this. So, firstly, she made the point, or she alluded to her mad reality, that adverts are dominated, they're not, by black and brown people, or Asian people and black people, right, in adverts. Firstly, they're nowhere near dominated by people of colour. But even if they are, only a racist would notice that. Only a racist would sit there and notice, in whatever context they're in, whether they're in the public in Birmingham, whether they are on a bus, whether they are watching the telly. Only a racist would sit there and go, black person. That is the definition of racist. Did the Trump hands then? It's the definition of racist. I can't do it. The definition of racist. And I don't think that I think she was going to try and get away with it. I think her plan was to try and test the waters. That's what I think that comment was. And you have not had anyone from Reform at the higher ups of Reform, Farage, etc., condemning it. She put out a non-apology where she was like, essentially like, sorry if you were offended, but here I'm going to double down on it now in an extra long blue tick tweet. Right? So she doubled down on the comment that she made, doubled down on it, but I don't think that this was ever about just the comment itself, because this is what those clever fuckers do, because they are permitted to do it. It's a part of what I was talking about in my Tommy Robinson video. This is message laundering. You know, we've gone beyond doggle whistling into overt racism coming out the mouths of, you know, the Tory MP the other week who was talking about cultural cohesion or culturally coherent, which means, you know, white people purely, right? But what they're doing is they are framing and normalising far-right talking points into the mainstream. And they knew that it would be, this would be all over everything. everyone would be talking about it, whether they're enraged by what she said or whether they're going, well, it's, they're trying to promote these talking points as just common sense. This is just what everyone's really thinking. Well, no, everyone's not really thinking this. Fucking racists are thinking this. Oh, you're not allowed to call them... We're here because people have failed to call it racism. Reform is a racist party. Why else would they embrace and laud a woman who was jailed for essentially committing domestic terrorism or inciting, domestic terrorism by calling for a government building, a house of asylum seekers that's government property at that point, to be burned down? Racial hatred was the crime of Lucy Connolly. Racial hatred. And then we've got Mike Graham in the same week, the guy who looks like Michael Gove in a fat suit, right? Who was making a comment on people on the tube, took a picture of people on the tube, uploaded a very similar picture to his Twitter. And then when he was called out for talking about the race, the skin colour of the people in the picture that he took in public, he claimed that he'd been hacked and he has been suspended by Talk TV. And it takes some fucking doing to get suspended by Murdoch for racism. Lee Anderson joined the Reform Party after making Islamophobic comments that were so bad that not even the Tories could allow it. And they have normalised Islamophobia in this country. And he was caught on camera by the Times expose talking just months before that about how he was offered a lot of money by a particular party to defect to them. So answer the question, Lee Anderson. Did you take money from Reform to defect? Did you make the Islamophobic comments that you knew that the Tories would have to condemn, against their will, to give the perception that they're not completely Reform? That wouldn't get you kicked out of the Tories now. Overt racism. Overt. Anyway, let's see what you're saying in the chat, shall we? Let's see what you're talking about. Now I've got that off of my bloody chest. Oh man, I'm going to have to go into the thing because it's not showing me. Right, here we are. Saw, you set of bastards. That's my view, that's my initial warm-up view on those bastards. Don't you apologise. Don't any of you apologise. Keith Doherty, thank you so much, or is it Doherty, for sending 5 gift memberships out. So welcome to Phil Nelson, to Kirsty Hamilton, to Mr. Hammond, to Charlie Reed, and to Boxer Tricks. Welcome to the party, pal. I'm glad Charlie's doing better than he was, Yuri. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's Wackatroll. Oh, have I brought them in? Mod warning. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, God. Okay. Have you got rid of them yet? Or shall I carry on roasting the far right? Because I've got all day. I've got all day to talk about how statistically it's been proven by science that they've got smaller dicks than the rest of the public. It's true. It's very true. The interviewer set her up to... Katie Lamb from the Conservative Party. Correcto. Right, okay. Sorry, guys. I've missed a few super chats, so I'm going to pop through and look at them. Gonna have a little bloody look at them. Oh, it's Ivan. Hello, Ivan. Thank you for the super chat. I keep saying to my local Labour Party that it's far from only about door knocking, but I may as well be talking to a brick wall. This is a huge problem in the Labour Party, in all of the other parties. But the thing is, none of them have actually got the funding that Reform have got, because they're not selling their souls necessarily to the the oil barons, or they're not getting funded by the oil barons. They're not being seen as profitable. Now, if Reform is the party that is being seen as profitable to literally the worst people on the planet, we're talking tobacco billionaires, we're talking fossil fuel industry, we're talking the worst possible people with the deepest pockets, why do you think they're going to fund Reform? It's not because they are working for the people, you know? People are... The thing that fucks me off the most about it is that they can't be told. You can't tell these people. The people that are probably trying to troll me right now in this chat are in the same position as me and you guys in the chat. They're in exactly the same position as us. They're probably fucked off about the same stuff. They're pissed off about the decline that we're living under. They are probably pissed off about the need for food banks in this country, the huge NHS waiting lists, the fact that schools are falling down, the fact that our hospitals are like field medic hospitals, the fact that you can't see a dentist. These are all problems that we have inherited, much like the boats crisis is something that we've inherited. And why did we end up with the boat crisis? Because we were forced to leave the Dublin Agreement. And then why did we were forced to leave that? Because of fucking Brexit, which they were also conned into voting for. So it is absolutely unbelievable that we are in a position where the very people that need socialist progressive parties, who probably aren't even aware that those socialist and progressive parties gave them the very things that they are enjoying nowadays, like weekends, like an NHS. They weren't given to you by the right. None of this was given to you by the right. Those, and also none of the rights that we have, workers' rights, maternity pay, the ability to take time off if you're sick without being immediately sacked. None of that stuff was just given to us. This is stuff that people on the left and progressives had to go out and fight tooth and nail for. Women had to go out and die and fight for their right to vote. Gay people had to fight for marriage equality. Now we've got trans people fighting for their right to just exist as human beings. Disability right. None of this was just given to you. And if it was given to you, it wasn't given to you by the right. It was given to, it was fought for and given to you by progressive parties. So the people that are going out, sticking up flags, yeah, I take the piss out of them because it's all that I can do. It's all any of us can do, is take the piss out of them because they are so unbelievably blind to the reality of what's going on in this country and the mugs that they are being for ultra-rich people who are using their skull to step on as a conduit, as a way to attain more power, more wealth, and to be untouchable in the eyes of the law. Because that's why they want positions of power. It's nothing to do with representing the people. Nothing. So the people that troll me for pointing this out to them, and I've tried to do it nicely, like with my videos. Oh, hello, Tiny's on the move. With my video, with my videos, I point out the facts too. I don't sit there and go, you're just all twats, you're idiots. I explain to you why, and I do it from sources that are regulated. Like, but they won't believe them because it all started with Gove. It all started with Gove, didn't it? Saying, oh, don't want to believe those experts anymore, because if you do, you're going to see that Brexit's a fucking disaster, economically and other. And what happened? Brexit turned out to be a fucking disaster, didn't it? Right, so I've got to manually manipulate my camera because it's being a schlag. So, to any flag shaggers that may or may not be watching this stream, we're in it together, you dickheads. We're the ones that are in it together. You are being mugged by the most obvious con the world has ever seen. Just look at what's happening in America. You've got Trump using his friends to fund, apparently, a £200 million ballroom whilst people in their community are being fucking dragged off by the Gestapo. You've got women bleeding out in front of A&E, dying because they can't get an abortion even when they've got like an ectopic pregnancy. They're referring to pregnant women as host vessels. And I guess the misogyny probably wouldn't bother you if you're a part of the Tommy gang, because you only pretend to give a fuck about the women when they're not only just women that agree with you, but they're white women, and when the people attacking them are black or brown. That's the only time you ever give a fuck about women. When the vast majority, as proven in the report by Sajid Javid in 2018, the vast majority of people that groom young girls are men that are white and native to this country. The reason that you're seeing overrepresentation is because you're only conducting the studies on the areas where the grooming gangs were people of Pakistani origin, or people that are not what people that are racist would consider to be really British. So you're going to get an overrepresentation if you're only focusing on the areas or the situations where they are overrepresented. I mean, I'm no maths expert, but even I know that that's a bit of a foregone conclusion, isn't it? Righty-tighty, you bunch of sluts. Let's get into the chat. Thank you, Alistair Kerr, for the 5 gift memberships. Welcome to Wow, Marieros, Aleron, Lisa B. I'm not pronouncing these correctly. Curtis L. Mark Lee Matchfishing. Interesting username we've got going on. Right. I'm a bit ranty tonight, and I'm not sad about it. I feel like it's needed. But thank you, Alistair Kerr, for the and to obviously Double Digital. Thank you for that. Forsake. Or was it Forksake? Forksake 82. Thank you for the super chat. The humorous way in which you expose these charlatans is great to watch. Thank you, thank you. I'm here all week. Try the fish. Darren Dustar. Donation to buy the tiny of 4... Fuck me, I fucked that up already. Donation to buy... Fucking hell. Donation to the Buy Tiny, a WD-40 cocktail fund. I'm not buying tiny shit. I'm not buying tiny nothing. Tiny can suck my fat one, as far as I'm concerned. think I'm all caught up there. Thank you, Hacksolar. I try to be gold. Gold! Always believe in yourself. You got the power to know you're indestructible. Urine infection of the US is fast becoming a Christian fundamentalist country. Christian nationalist. Indeed it fucking is. We are in a very bad situation. And as I explained in my video the other day, the very people that are funding teeny tiny Tommy Robinson, the very people that are behind Farage, that are funding him to talk on the anti-abortion circuit, they're the people that are putting loads of money into those who will push their culture war, which is anti-Islam, pro-Christian, pro-regression. It's a regressive, hateful culture war that is based on Christian kind of fundamentalism, essentially. And these people are essentially the Christian Taliban. Anyone that is not the respectable face of white America or white Britain, i.e. old, white, probably fucking young girls behind the scenes, anyone that's not one of those things is the enemy, right? If you look at the Taliban, anyone that's not one of them is the enemy, and they face harsh consequences in society. They are the Christian Taliban. Their radicalisation techniques are the same. Precisely the same. They target the disenfranchised, those who don't really feel like they're getting a fair deal in society. But the reason that most of the people that they're targeting don't feel like they've got a fair deal in society is because of the fucking dickheads funding the hate preachers that are hoarding the wealth. This is why we need a wealth tax. 75% of people in Britain want a wealth tax. We want this. The fact that Labour are failing to implement the very policies that are progressive, that are actually wanted at this point in time by the majority of the country, is indefensible and fucking stupid. And it gives the impression that they're Bidening it. They're doing a Biden and Biden their time until the far right get in and all hell breaks loose. This is what I'm here for, you bastards. You're surrounded by armed bastards. Oh no, not Daily Blase. Oh shit. Just having a brief pause to drink my tea. I haven't been drinking enough of my tea this evening. So nowhere near enough of my tea, and it's gone cold, and it's so disappointing when a cup of tea goes cold. And I'm not one of those people that would ever consider warming it up. That's just fucking despicable. Do you guys like my new little fella? I don't know if it's still tracking me, probably not. That! I've got a new little lad, a new little Nintendo lad. It's a light. But I couldn't get my background to light up. But hopefully by next week I'd have sorted out my wall over there, which is going to be my new backdrop. But it's my thank you for doing that, Tiny. It's my how do I do it? It's not making it do it. Oh, you can see it. You can see enough of it. I can't remember what those fellas are called that come out of the pipes in Nintendo. In Mario Kart. Fuck me. What are they called? There'll be someone in the chat, I'm sure, who will inform me of what they're called in about 10 seconds. Eek. it's not Yorkshire tea. It's an inferior Earl Grey. I've had to go back to the clipper. The Earl Grey that used to be the best. I'm going to sound like a bougie bastard saying this. The Earl Grey that used to be the best was the Marks and Spencer's Earl Grey, because it was actual bergamot oil. But now I'm stuck with bloody Clipper. It's not the best, but Sainsbury's do a pretty good Earl Grey. Bloody love Earl Grey. I can't drink any tea that's not Earl Grey nowadays. You can't warm up. You can't warm it up. My teeth. Oh my god. Thank you to Yuri. Yeah, much better. Doesn't hurt anymore. Sarah Davis, Tan, your post after the dentist when you were high on morphine was hilarious. Dear God. I wasn't on morphine. What I was on was a copious amount of, an unusually large amount of Valium and cocodamol simultaneously. So I necked immediately after, even though I was numb, and I had to cycle in the rain and a storm to go to the polling station that had been moved for that by-election, temporarily apparently. I had to do that while my face was still numb. I mean, it was so intense. I only got the feeling back in the back of my palate. I was going to make a really inappropriate joke then. Literally, I think yesterday, I was still numb because they did a really... I mean, it was... The guy is a butcher, right? He did very well. But he did this, like, injection that was like that. Deep, without any numbing, into, like, the upper back part of my gum. And I'm no wuss. And my eyes were streaming. It made me cry. It was so painful. So yeah, I was on probably a good 15 milligrams of Valium plus 2 cocodamol. Didn't realise that they were the 60-30. Oh no, 500 cocodamols. I took 2 of them. So I was on 120 codeine and 15 milligrams of Valium. And halfway through the root canal, it was even worse, believe it or not, in the dentist. Because I was forced to go private. Forced. Because there's no dentist. I gave up looking for an NHS dentist. Shit, my thing's going to go. I gave up looking for an NHS dentist when it got to like 80 miles away. Because there weren't any in an 80-mile radius. So I was forced to go to this bougie, pay monthly fucking dentist. They're very nice and they've got TVs on the ceiling. So I was like, okay, cool, man. Like, can you put something on that's comforting and familiar? So I asked them to put Friends on, right? And it took ages because I was running on so much adrenaline. It took ages for the Valium to kick in. But then it all kicked in at once, didn't it? And it all kicked in about 5 or 10 minutes into the procedure. I'm laying there and I'm watching Friends up on the ceiling because I'm laying back and the telly's on the ceiling. And I am laughing. I'm like, and the guy's like, are you in pain? And I'm like, I'm just laughing and chuckling away at Friends. And Friends is not that funny. It wasn't even the one where he had the turkey on his head. You know, it was ridiculous scenes. I was yapping away uncontrollably, when I eventually got home, realised my polling station was shut, and I realised that I had to set back out again in the storm. When I got to the Salvation Army polling station, there was a lovely young man with a tote. He's the first person that, you know, when they take your number off you on the polling card, right? They kind of do your number check just to log who's turned up. And they share it along the line, right? The very first guy that I saw was a lovely, soft-spoken representative of the Green Party. And I was fucking chewing his ear off. I was like, oh, mate, oh, wow, you're here from the Greens. I was like, you know what, like, you know, obviously, like, they can't win in my area locally, but, you know, you're doing a great job nationally. Like, I think, you know, you're really coming through. Good, well done, guys. You know, you're doing a cracking job. You're doing exactly what needs to be done on social media. I've always thought that a party needs to come through and do what, you know, and he was just sitting there going, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I can't really talk about politics, but I can agree with you. And I can nod along. And then he was like, we need to share, because I've done this before. I've taken the numbers for Labour, right? You share it along the line with the other people. And when I took the numbers for Labour, I had like a fucking reverse Miriam Margolyes. She looked just like Miriam Margolyes, but she was a Tory representative. And she was sitting there telling me that the homeless choose to be homeless. And I said to the Lib Dem candidate, who was really nice, I said, look, you're going to need to sit, and I said it in earshot of her, I said, you're going to need to sit between me and her, because if she carries on, I'm going to start throwing fists. She eventually left. But I get to this place, I'm chatting away like a chatty bastard at the Green candidate. Like, he's so lovely and pleasant, very calming, very reassuring. I'm telling him that I've just had a root canal. I'm praising the social media efforts of the Green Party. And then I looked next to him, right next to him. I thought someone had left their kid there that they'd picked up from school. It was a child bride of reform. It literally was a member of the Shitler Youth, right? He was sitting there in what looked like a school uniform, but he had the turquoise, like, horrible toothpaste coloured tie on, and he was wearing fucking wellies in the middle of a city. He was wearing wellies that had never seen a lick of mud. And when he smiled politely, as I looked at him like this, as he smiled, because he looked, I felt like I was Danny in the corridor clocking the twins. You know, I was like, when he smiled, he had braces, mate. He had braces. Then I looked across and there was like a disgruntled older man for Labour. Never seen him before in my life. And then there was, I don't know what the Lib Dem person was, probably knocking around somewhere, wanking in a cupboard. I don't know. I don't get on with local Lib Dems. Love them nationally. Can't stand them locally. You know, love Ed Davey. I want to bake that man a lemon drizzle. I would consider doing shit with Lib Dems, like actual, like, something with Ed Davey, because I like him so much. He's a nice man. He's paid, you know, made up for the past. And then I went in to cast my vote and there was some kind of issue with the ballot and I had to have a sit down because I was getting dizzy because I was off my fucking tits on cocodamol and morphine. Not morphine, fuck me. I was off my tits on codeine and Valium. I was getting a bit dizzy. And then I was like, went to take a sip of my sparkling water, didn't I? And it just went like this. Straight down my tits. Wow. I really hope I don't ever have to go back there and see any of those people ever again. Ever. Anywho. Catching up on the chat. Catching up on the fucking chat. It was a lot. But yeah, my tooth's much better now. Just need to go through the next round. But it's costing me a lot of money. A lot of money that I'm going to have to find monthly myself. So yeah. How are we doing on the chats, mods? Are we getting a bunch of... are we still getting trolls? Have they listened to a ruddy word I've said? If they do try and explain themselves without expletives, let them. But if they can't do it without being cocks, don't. Fear and loathing at the polling station, said someone. Who said that genius comment? Francisco Scaramanga. What a fucking username, mate. I freaking loved that video, Tan. It was well funny and good to see you seem stoned as I very much was. I very much was. I did not have a care in the world. I was cycling with my headphones in, blaring out Wu-Tang. And to the outside world, right, my bike, like in my head, I'm riding like a bloody, you know, like a, I don't know, I'm like a gangster cycling on a BMX, you know. But in reality, I probably look like a primary school teacher on a NAM bike. And in my ears, I got Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. And feeling like a G-star, you know. Feeling like a ruddy G-star. Bring the rockers. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. So I'm going to be demonetized. 1,000,000 times over. Someone just said, Rebecca Jones, you'd be a great candidate to champion for us lefties, right? I am never, ever, ever running for Parliament. Ever. You have my word. I said wow because you never know. You never know. Someone just said it's classed as an OD. It wasn't 1,200 milligrams. It was 120. So it was 260 milligrams of codeine. They were the 6500s. But I'm only supposed to take one. It was too much. Yeah, I've had to eat some prunes. I've had to eat some prunes. But thanks for thinking about my arsehole. Very much appreciate it, everybody, for thinking about my bowels. I have tripped my tits off before, and it wasn't like that. Martin Harrow, £2 super chat. Can't send a super chat mentioning white G gangs. I think it's what the G stands for. And I know that you're not talking about gangsters. But they are prevalent and they make up the majority of all cases. So. Horseproof bacon, watch out for the dentist with mirrors on the ceiling. We're all just prisoners here of our own. We're all just prisoners here of our own device, I think is what you were going for. Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place. Such a lovely face. The guy from the Green did not think I was chatting him up. I was just a babbling mess. Plus, he was well too young for me. And I very much assumed from his temperament that I was not his type, if you get my drift. So there was none of that involved. I was just babbling away like a tosser. Bob Russell was great. Bob Russell was great. It was just it's just the local lot have put him to shame, really. They lie to their... I hate liars and people that try to con voters, and they pretend. They came fourth in the general election and they were going around telling everyone that they could win it. And we're very lucky that we weren't split between Labour and the Tory, and Labour and the Lib Dems, because the tactical vote was wrong. It's Labour in this area. They very rarely change hands, council seats around here. And when they do, like the extent of how reform have come up out of nowhere to get into the 20s around here should scare people. Right, I'm going to get through, because some of you guys have been... Oh, wow. Thank you, guys, for your supers. Ivan Ambrose, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Tan, your thoughts on the upcoming budget? Will Reeves properly go for the rich? We desperately need a land tax. I think that it's really difficult to know. I mean, the murmurings are looking like an income tax raise from what I can see. They seem to be seeding that. I think they can still push a bit more on capital gains. I think that they could get away with a wealth tax. They will get slated only by the papers that they refuse to regulate. Because they're going to get slated anyway. Even if they do regulate the press, right, they can still slate them on things because it would still be free. But it would just be factual. But, excuse me, I don't know. I really don't know. But I know that I think they're setting up Rachel Reeves to be a kind of fall guy. Which is sadly how it goes when anything goes wrong in the Labour Party. They're blaming the women. Although she has objectively made some very, very poor decisions. She's no Gordon Brown texture like son, is she? Through my mind he runs. Never a frown with Gordon Brown. Because he was very fiscally responsible and then he let go. But the problem is they didn't inherit the nightmare that Labour have. And Labour did objectively inherit a nightmare. And they've got fucking fires that need to be put out from every direction. I do have empathy for that. But I also know that by playing to the fiddle of twats like McSweeney and Maurice Glassman, they're doing themselves no favours and therefore throwing the rest of us under the bus. So I don't know, really. I've just been letting Labour get on with it for a bit lately because I'm not particularly happy with them, to put it very mildly. Kirsty Hamilton, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I'm sure those people hope they don't see the crazy person again soon. I am the crazy person. Yeah. Yeah. I assume you're talking about me, but I am objectively the crazy person. Darren DeStaff. Donation to the Victims of Dental Drug Pushing Fund. It's a scourge of the civilised world. I was a victim of my own choices. Appalling. Absolutely appalling. Appalling what I chose to do to myself. Although I did have a fucking great time. I have to admit. It could have been worse. I mean, I felt like I was flying on my bike at one point. It was very fun. Haxola, thank you for the super. Hi Tan, do you think both Labour and the Tories are done? Well, the Tories are fucked. I would say, most deaf. They have done it to themselves. And in the words of Tom York, that's what really hurts, isn't it? Historic set of bastards, the Tories. Been going for a very long time. Been blatantly racist for a very long time. Then they had a moment of what looks like now reasonableness, if that's a word, decency, integrity. There was the One Nation conservatism, which pretended to be more liberal. You know, that's what Johnson was initially a part of. In the thick of it, that's what Peter Mannion represents, who is actually one of the few likeable characters. Damn you, Armando Iannucci, for making me like a Tory, but I do, Peter Mannion. And that's your Greaves, right? Your Heseltines. Bastards in their time. Nowadays, they look like bloody decent politicians. Because that's how extreme it's got. The worst decision the Tory party ever made for themselves was Johnson, because Johnson started the freefall decline of the Conservative Party. He destroyed the Conservative Party. It's almost single-handedly. It's like Anchorman. I'm almost impressed. An entire wheel of cheese. Well done. So that fabric wardrobe of a human being, that bloviating pile of blancmange, the sex yeti, started the gradual falling into the well of the Conservative Party. Labour, they've got until the May elections, which isn't long. But what it would take for Labour would be reform. I'm not going to say that fucking word. Would be regulation of the media, regulation of social media, disinformation legislation as a must, a facet of tech literacy, a tiny facet. All we're asking, a snippet of understanding what the fuck the internet is, and not still thinking that this is like Encarta 95 floppy disk era. And sacking Morgan McSweeney, ignoring Maurice Glassman, clearing out all the spads and bringing in people that know what the fuck they're doing, and Starmer possibly just fucking going. Like, that's what it's going to take at this point. That's what it's going to take. Because he is visionless. And whatever he's pushing, nobody wants to buy it. He's like he's not even a salesman, but if he was selling something, it would be just a pile of pure shit. So Labour have got until May. I have little faith that they're going to turn it around. I think they're going to get slaughtered by reform in the council elections. And they're not going to get on top of it. They're failing to get on top of it. And it's just going to be a downward spiral from there. Even if they make the improvements that we need, which they gradually, tentatively are, that doesn't matter anymore. Rhetoric matters. Ewan Fectinov, prunes, not too many. You don't want the Tenconi two-step. Fucking Tenconi. Did you see the state of that? That baldy hobbit on Talk TV, I think it was the other day. No, it was bloody Dan Wootton's show. Dan Wootton, who's been accused by multiple people, which he strenuously denied, of being a massive perv. He was on there laying in to Narinda and Carol Vorderman for being sexy. It's disgusting. They should act their... I had to Google their age, he said mid-wank. Classic insecurity. He wants them, they'll never touch him, so he has to hate them. Can't stand that bastard. Martin Harrow. Tam, my partner works in supporting kids as young as 3 in police interviews, court, and yes, many white family members needs highlighting more. The problem's men, man. Broadly, the problem is men. Statistically, globally, it's the lads, I'm afraid, who commit the upper 90 percentile of violent and sexual crime. Globally, all cultures, all religions, all skin colours, one gender. And they also do in other men too. So it is. Slim Pixie, I wasn't backing the Tories with what I was saying. I was making it really clear that things have got so bad that they seem normal. John Major seems reasonable. Dominic Greaves seems normal. Dominic Greaves works quite closely with Byline Times, actually. He's all right. He's all right. Labour has been neoliberal since New Labour. Tricky bind though, wasn't it? Because the old Labour way was never going to work in terms of reaching an election win. Ever. They were never ever going to win whilst they were still just looking like a bunch of disgruntled unionists. They had to rebrand and look like the centrists or become the centrists in order to, become or look respectable enough to get the ball over the line. So yeah. Ten Coney has said some very, very troubling things online. He has been all over the porn bots on Twitter, pushing like real Tate level misogyny. He's a piece of shit, man. Absolute piece of shit. But what we're seeing here is broadly from these arseholes is the widespread normalisation of things that would have been despicable and unthinkable even 5 years ago. They're drip feeding shocking rhetoric into the public consciousness in such a way that it's like a bit of a boiling frog scenario. You know, they're gradually radicalising people into this disturbing, toxic way of thinking and being. And it is shocking. It's not something that we would have seen happening even 5 years ago. And it all started with Reform getting away with it with a lot of their, what was broadly considered unlawful, rule-breaking Brexit campaigning. And then it was all downhill from there because they could get away with it, so they just got worse. Much worse. Kieran Croissant for 99 Super Chat. Yeah, I think it was Cameron that started the Tories down the slope to irrelevance and gutter politics, but feck 'em, they're a bunch of gobshites. Depends on not well. Yeah, with the Brexit referendum. Yeah, that was a pretty big one. They were so desperate to retain power that they gave, or so scared of losing votes to UKIP, that they offered that as a vote winner to try to ward off UKIP, but they essentially just gave UKIP what they were gunning for. But the problem is, since 2016, Farage has already been in power in the Conservative Party anyway. He has been playing them like marionettes since. He has been behind all the policy. He has been behind all the decisions as a kind of like shadow influence, like a kind of like unofficial SPAD, because they were always trying to outdo him in everything that they were doing, constantly trying to out Farage. And now they're still doing it. And what has that resulted in? The rise of fucking Farage. They should have treated him like the irrelevance that he is, or was at that time. They really should have. They should have just treated him like he doesn't matter and got on with whatever, they were going for at the time. I don't know, like starving nursery kids or whatever else they were doing with austerity at that time. But my hot water bottle's gone cold. But they didn't. They treated him as credible. I don't think UKIP would have won that many seats anyway. They definitely couldn't have really made that much leeway under first past the post. So, yeah, you're right. When you look back, Cameron was the beginning of the end, really. But Johnson was the finishing blow. He was the finish him, Very, very grim. Very grim. Hello, Witchy Goth. Welcome to the party, pal. A lot of people are ill at the moment. There's my friend Hannah was talking about how she has succumbed to the Rona, but it's not showing up on regular tests. So that's a bit worrying. There's a lot of it about, as they say. There's a lot of it about. But someone just said there's 300 and something, however many people watching. Please do give the stream a like if you don't mind. If you don't mind. Kirsty Hamilton and Liz Truss managed to kill the Queen. I can't believe that woman has the fucking audacity to still keep talking. And now, on Twitter, the Blue Tick bot lot, there's a Liz Truss fan club. Oh, you were wronged, Liz Truss. She tanked the fucking economy. And not just that, Kwasi Kwarteng at a champagne lunch the next day, full of the people that were given a head up that they were going to tank the economy, encouraged him to double down. So he did. Some more money was wiped off the stocks. People were forced to pay extortionate amounts of money for their mortgages. People lost their homes. We've never fully recovered from that. And she also killed the Queen. Fuck me. She's like a fucking, you know Madame Tussauds, right? You've got the waxworks. She's like a reject waxwork of herself. Like, she's fully mental. Like, I think if you did like a little kind of like peek into her brain, there would just be like a couple of coins, a bit of fluff, and a bat flying around in there. She's mental. She's fucking mental. There's nothing in there. She's like dead behind the eyes. Truss has a fan club. Are they called greengrocers, says Yuri. Let us pray. Ivan Ambrose. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Johnson did the most damage morally and caused the most hurt in the mishandling of COVID. Hard agree. Yes. Yes. But moral damage is that bastard's MO. It was always going to happen. It was the worst possible Prime Minister at the worst possible time. As soon as I saw that creeping in, my first thought was, fucking hell, this is going to happen under Boris Johnson, isn't it? And I knew at that point that many people would die. I knew it. I knew it. But not even I thought. I hated them from the onset. I could not stand them. I've always despised Conservatives, dear Ivan. But not even I thought that they would do that. And the police knew it was happening and did nothing. And that was the thing that I think proved precisely how things work in this country. They do not serve and protect us. They control and manage us. They serve and protect the state and the establishment. Daily Blase. You're not wrong about Lettuce Liz Tan. I've been reading a book. She's as mad as a box of frogs. Completely bonkers. Right, you are our kid. That's Manchester. Don't want to get them mixed up. Start a turf war between Yorkshire and Manchester, who are mad for it. Kirsty Hamilton. Thanks, love. At least we know where to go for an eye test. Barnard Castle. At the time, I made the joke that Dominic Cummings was the author of the Specsavers Guide to the Road. That whole thing, that was one of my first ever viral videos, was my takedown of Gollum, aka Dominic Cummings, who was literally, at the time, employing like eugenicist children as his second in command. Eugenicist kids. Like the Shitler youth. He is also fully mental. Like incapable of normality. But yeah. And they lied in the rose garden, as they always do. I saw a picture that I took actually, like, because I'd literally just started a job about 3 weeks before lockdown. And they were all going into the office and no one was social distancing. And throughout the entire COVID pandemic, they were fucking terrible employers in the sense that they were trying to force you into the office. They were acting like presenteeism. And I was like, I'm not losing my life for a job that's, to me, a temp job. So I was saving up to buy lenses to do my photography. I am not dying from the apocalypse for a very poorly paid job with you clowns. I said, I'm going home. Can I have a laptop? I'll teach myself the job. Which I did. I taught myself a very complicated account management, essentially, stroke customer service, business to business, energy job from home. I taught myself that job. And I saw the picture that I took out of the window of this like office building. Outside you can see the street, and inside you can see a reflection of my face back with the mask in black and white. It's actually probably one of the best photos I've ever taken. But I remember the fear and the panic of that time. And it was all made exponentially worse by knowing that we had the man that I would go on to call Fred Westminster in charge. And I think someone insane, like Priti Patel, was like health secretary at first, I think. And then it was Hancock. It was like, I called it musical cunts. Because every couple of weeks you'd have, at one time they made Theresa Coffey health secretary. The woman that I called Dudley Moore, who's let himself go. Eat out to help out. Funny as a term, because it sounds like cunnilingus. In reality, killed loads of nans. She was Home Secretary, quite right. Anyway, we are coming up to an hour and a half. So if you've got any questions for me, please do, because I think I've ranted enough this evening, to be fair. So if you've got any questions for me before I disappear into the ether on this Sunday evening, speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, I got it wrong. I think it's because I made a joke about how Priti Patel would unplug your life support machine to charge her vape. Or something. So I honestly, there was so many. It was such a revolving door of pure shithousery that I lost track. You have to ask me some questions, lads. We'll be getting back to your photography, says Yuri. Yeah. But I've, just for perspective, like in the last week, I've got the best part of 3 videos that I'm in the process of recording and editing and or writing. One's recorded. So my main focus at the moment is getting all the videos out of my brain. But I'd like to have a bit more time to do my photography, yeah. Or at least a bit of focus to do my photography. So that would be nice. But at present, I don't know what the hell is a bread tuber? Is that something rude that I've not caught? What the hell is a bread tuber? Darren De Star. Who was your favourite in Take That, and should he have got with your favourite from the Spice Girls? I was never a Take That fan. I was too young. But Robbie Williams, young Robbie Williams, is the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life. And he was kind of like a part of my sexual awakening, I would say. So I didn't really have a favourite Spice Girl. I liked them all collectively. So thank you, Abdullah, for the praise for the Tommy Robinson video. His lot didn't like that. I can tell you that for nothing. Yeah, they came for me over that. I haven't read the report about Amazon dropping thousands of workers. So bread tuber or left-wing YouTubers like ContraPoints or Philosophy. I've never heard of them. I've never heard of this before. I'm going to have to Google this. I've literally never heard of it as a term. Breadtubers love getting a rise out of viewers. Their own viewers? I've never ever heard of that. I thought that I was being played. Like it's a rude term or something. I don't bloody know. Were you into politics before 2020? Absolutely, yeah. In fact, I came across a memory. I don't very often go on Facebook, but I came across a memory from, God, I think it was like 2014, 15, 16, where I was ranting away just into the void. You know, just annoying my own family members with my feminism and my left-wingism. And back then it was all a bit more pro-Corbyn, anti-Brexit, you know. But I've always been politically minded, always voted. Because my nan said, women died for your right to vote, you must always vote. So I did. I bloody did, didn't I? Because nan was never wrong. Kieran Croissant. I'd like to see your work. Can you do a slideshow? Excuse me. A slideshow of my photography work. Yeah. I can do it on Instagram. I can't really do that on YouTube, can I? I don't know if I could. But yeah, I'd probably do that on Instagram because that's made for that, you know. Space docking. Now I know that that's rude. Darren to start. Elon Musk has demanded his 1 trillion pay rise so he can create a robot army. This isn't a joke. Is this a good idea? I just say send him into space. You know, just send him directly into space. It's the best we can hope for. I would contribute to that fund easily. Love the title, very appropriate, says Gray. Oh God, I didn't even talk about bloody Prince Andrew, did I? I'm going to make a video about it. God, I have got 3 videos in various stages of finishedness at the moment. That's not even a word. In various stages of completion. One's about radicalisation, one's about reforms, Nathan Gill, and the broader questions they need to answer. And one is about, what's it called? Gropey Prince Andrew. The Fanny grabber. I keep it on brand, you know, if I'm doing stuff. I mean, apart from my shorts, my short videos, you never know what you're going to get because I just piss around with them. Just completely piss around with them. But my video, my photography is more... Excuse me. My photography is much more kind of like conceptual. A lot of long exposure, a lot of pinhole work, a lot of scenes, you know, like neo-noir, kind of like shit. That's my photography, really. Oh my God, a dystopia warning tattoo. Unlike Adrian Thompson, I do not advise people to get anything that I've said tattooed on them. Just to be clear. Box of Tricks, thank you for the super chat. Watch this when you got time. God, what is this? Khazarian Mafia, the God Eaters, Chuck Swindle Jr. I don't know what that is. I never know if I'm being set up into saying something, you know. But I'm not like Ron Burgundy, who will just say everything that's on a teleprompter. Or like Nigel, you know, doing the whole up the Ra thing. I don't know, but thank you, Box of Tricks. I've written it down in those lads, you know. Oh, you think it's a film? Right. Anyone got any questions before I bugger off into the night? Anybody? Anybody? Any for any? That sounds like the perfect Sunday. I haven't even had any dinner this evening. I've had Nout. I'm Dr. Nout. I'm very, very low on fuel today. Today's been very unproductive for me as well. I've been in recovery mode. So sorry that you've come here to watch me yawn for the last 5 minutes, but I'm getting a bit tired. Favourite record. In my current collection, I have basically all of my favourite records, but the one that I listen to, or have been listening to a lot, is my 1969 pressing of Abbey Road. I still can't believe Nigel Farage uttered the words Big Chungus. I have seen the leaked council footage of Kent County Council of Reform being a bunch of slags. I do need to eat. I know. But I've had no real urge to today. I've been feeling a bit fed up today. You went to the forest and picked shrooms. God, you are brave. Vegetarian chili, very good. Very, very good. Yeah, I'm going to... Oh, I have got... So thank you for reminding me that I've got some beans. Beans on ghosts. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't have any enthusiasm for cooking when I'm feeling a bit sad. I'd like someone to cook for me sometime. That would be nice. But anyway, I am going to piss off into the ether, I think. I would like to thank all of you for tuning in this evening to hear me rant about various topics, various reform schlags. And I will be back at a similar time, although more on time, next Sunday. And who knows? Who knows where we will be? Thank you to Chris C. Thank you to Alison Kurt. Thank you to Diz for moderating and for pushing out the schlags that infiltrated my chat this evening. I very much appreciate all of you. So, what do you think we're going to see next week? Will it be a return of the giant snakes of yesteryear? Will the dinosaurs come back? If they do, will they bite the arms and the legs off of Reform MPs? Nobody knows. But until next time, don't go shagging flags to try and please me. You've never let me down before. Now it's time for me to try and fanny around and make my outro play. Love you guys. Bye.
It's the Sunday service. The super dance team. This could be a warning. doobie doo.